It's Wellness Wednesdays. It's Wellness Wednesday, and I am feeling a little unwell pushing to pre record content. This is the fun thing about being a content creator. Hey, I want to take a week off, so I'm going to knock the shit out of myself for the 2 weeks coming up with that so I can take a week off. 2 steps forward, I take 2 steps back. Yeah, so I'm a little punchy, but I want to talk about making changes because it's sort of the new year, new path, resolution thing like that. I want to talk about how to do it because it's scary, right? It's scary and it feels unstable and it's unfamiliar. And these are features, not bugs, right? And I think too many times the world gives us signals that if it starts to get rough, if it doesn't go according to plan, then you're doing something wrong. And it's a question of knowing when to pivot and knowing when to stay the course. And to me, that comes down to, why are you doing it? Why are you making this change? Right? For instance, I'll do a really common one with the whole weight loss or working out or something like that. Okay. Why are you doing it? Is it to look better or is it to be healthy? Right? Because if it's to be healthy, well, if you're sleep deprived and you're missing out on sleep to go to the gym every day, you're not going to be healthy. You're going to get hurt, most likely. So missing the gym to get enough sleep, short term, right call. If you're constantly going without sleep, well, maybe your health routine needs to involve saying no to things a little more often, right? That's how it works. Like, what is the ultimate goal? Why are you doing what you're doing instead of what are you doing? And that will help you stay the course when things get hard. And I had to dope it out myself coming back from PTSD because people were like, this is what you have to do. You have to regain a sense of control. You have to do this. You have to do that. And it felt like I was doing everything differently. And the exhaustion of, and it, this was the right advice, but it was incomplete. The idea of anybody who's not supportive, you have to cut out. That sounds awful, right? Especially to somebody whose main problem is that they, were too much of a doormat, or in my case, I didn't want to do to people what people had done to me, meaning, judging me and ostracizing me just because I was weird. But what I had to realize is I wasn't doing that to people. It was, these people were not supporting me. And I was always there for them to get stuff out of, but when it came to doing something for me, they always had their hand out. Okay, so bye. And so I had to get used to being the person everyone called a bitch. And, there's a reason I find that word so lazy, because it was leveled at me. Because I said no. And because I didn't want to be treated poorly anymore. I didn't want to hang out with people who lied about me and didn't give me the benefit of the doubt, made shit up about me that was bad and not true, hence the making it up. And I'm the bitch? Okay, if not being that is being bitchy, then what is that? If normal is awful, if good actually isn't, if up is down, right? If light is dark, then maybe being the villain of that piece is the right call, right? And that's why I'm so disappointed in some of the redemption stories that are coming out, because that's a way of kind of working it, and they don't do it. But it is tough. The other thing that sabotages people when they're making changes is an all or nothing approach. There are certain family members with Passover. You know, if you don't do it for the whole time, it's like you didn't do it at all, about not eating bread or stuff like that. That's nonsense. That is counter to what the freaking book says. The book says you do as much as you possibly can. That is enough. There's a whole song about it. Dayenu. It means it was enough. Dayenu, Dayenu, right? But people turn it into this competition. And it's not. It's supposed to be a meditation point that gets you through the year. It's supposed to be humble. And if you're coming at it as a competitor, as a competitive thing, that's not coming at it from a humble place. They forgot the why, right? And you have to go into making changes recognizing it's that roguelike mentality, right? You get as far as you can until you tap out. And then you start at the beginning again, and you go as far as you can, and then you tap out, and you prepare for that so that it doesn't horribly discourage you when it happens. And that's really important, because if you go into it expecting the roguelike model where you will have to, okay, didn't work this time, try again. If you go in prepared for that, if you go in with that a feature, then you don't beat yourself up when it happens. Oh, this is expected, right? It's why I've been so big on expectations and disappointment lately and talking about it. You're not going to get it right the first time. And it's really ironic to me, the number of people who complain about Rey's lack of training on, the Star Wars sequels. They expect people to be perfect in everything they do and everything they say right off the bat. And that's just not realistic, especially in highly subjective matters like writing or art or philosophy. You know, there isn't one right answer and 20 wrong ones a lot of the time. There's often matters of perspective where multiple people are right about certain things. Their perspective is just incomplete. And I do think that you're more likely to succeed in making changes for your own improvement that you want to make if you're in an environment where people are like, okay, setback, you'll get it. You'll get it, and we'll give you the time to get it. And that is the other thing. This one's a tough one. I know it was for me, because in my trauma recovery, my trauma growth, my post-traumatic growth, it's not really a recovery because you don't go back to the same place. It's a new timeline. I didn't have a group that understood what it meant to have a trauma condition, what a person with a trauma condition needed, and how to be there for that person. And that's part of the reason I do the work I do, because, you know, even in this format, feeling like someone understands can be really helpful and really powerful. And we're trying to figure out how to provide these supports at scale is the trendy way of doing it, the trendy way of saying it now. But that supportive environment is key. And what supportive environments mean in this case is people who encourage you to see yourself as having intrinsic worth and to be someone who's worth putting it on the line for. I guess you may be a handful sometimes. You may be difficult because you're doing something difficult. And again, feature, not a bug. You go in with appropriate expectations from the get-go, everybody's going to be on the same page, right? And so it's really important to get those agreements going in and strategize, especially for difficult things. It's like, okay, I do this with clients a lot. They're going into something that's making them nervous. Okay, what's the bad stuff that can happen? Okay, what's our game plan when that happens? It really makes you feel much more in control if you can pre-plan for the tough stuff, right? Even something as simple as, feeling like someone will support you if you have to get up and walk out of the room. Because I know, like, with me, one of the things that really kept me stuck was the fact that if I got up and walked out because somebody was being an ass, everybody jumped on me. And I had to be real tough. It had to be fine. I'm not going in the first place. Well, why not? You're being antisocial. Well, because if it gets too much for me and I walk out, everybody flips out. So it's better if I'm not there in the first place. And, some people were like, okay, we'll watch that. That's fair. People shouldn't jump on you. So I went to their events. The people that wouldn't make that accommodation, piss on them. And in some cases, you do need to get mercenary, that piss on it approach. Because if people don't have your back, they don't have your back. And if you really soul search, you know who has your back and who doesn't, right? You know who will tell it to you straight and who will tell you what they think you want to hear. You know who will be there for you when you fuck up, even as they don't deny you fucked up. They won't ground your face in it, but they won't try to tell you it wasn't a mistake. They're kind about it, and that's the other thing. If you think something was a mistake, okay. People don't get to tell you what to think. But if you're getting stuck reliving the mistake, you may be looking for control that just isn't there. And you may be taking too much on, trying to create safety in a situation that isn't there. Because control is safety. Safety is stability, and people in unstable environments try to manufacture stability by blaming themselves for things that aren't their fault. Because if it's your fault, it's within your control. If it's not your fault, it's even scarier. So those are little things. I don't want to do too much because this is a heavy topic, but those are some things you can do to help make the changes you want to make. But first and foremost, you have to want to make the change. It's not you feel forced to because everybody's yelling at you. You see the value in what people are saying. This is something you want to do for you. And you're doing it on your own terms. It's the only way it works. People have to be ready to do it. Because if they're not, they're just being coerced into it. And that never ends well. They got to be ready. And I am ready for 2023. And I hope you are too. Thank you for having this journey of this year at this channel. Thank you for watching. You know what's coming. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Lots new exciting things coming down the pipe for patrons. Or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it to work through some of the changes they want to make. Coffee.com/LeannaK. Thanks for watching and be well.